Hello, humans of the internet. Welcome to the Gallant Horde finale. This is the last segment of this truly epic stream, which has been incredible, but also of the story that we have been telling for the last 2 years. You have all battled and fought and argued and persuaded and cajoled and investigated your way through whatever challenges faced you today, until Titania called you all to her side. She watches as the Horde members appear in the circle. Once everyone is there, she looks around at the watching Archfey. And then she turns to her Horde and she says, Hearn wanted to know what my people had to say about me, about Oberon. Some thought I might be cherry-picking. You have all fought for me today. They have heard from those who are here already, but I want to give you the opportunity, if you wish it. If anyone else has anything to add to this conversation about Oberon. The question on the table is whether the Archfey should agree to completing this ritual and replacing Autumn. If any of you would like to speak, now is the time. So mechanically, because there are a lot of you, I'm going to ask you to put your name in the Roll20 chat. If you want to speak, your character's name, to be specific, and the lady will call on you. If and when you are ready. Zenri. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. So Zenri is like in anger, having finally come face to face that is responsible for family or lots of them and dispersing them everywhere. So she is probably being held back by Greth a little bit, and she looks around and he is responsible for the death of innocent. My family, we were traveling merchants, traveling performers for the courts, for the Fae. And just because we waved the banners of summer, they were hunted. We were hunted, bred, their lives forth. All at the hands of his minions. Because what? We're not the right kind of Fae. We are from the Feywild. I am Fae. I may not be in the courts. We may not ever cross paths again. But we are here. And we live here. And we serve those who are here. And he has done nothing but destroy and destruction. And Queen Titania has taken us in and given us a chance to regroup and find family that we thought lost forever. I will never forgive him, and I will always. And she'll collapse like.
Can you roll me a persuasion check, please?
Not her. That's a 5.
All good.
Okay.
Hayden.
Hello.
Hello.
I am here. Well, been told about what you want. So what I can say about Titania is she has been good to the Horde for the most part. Even when there was dissent, only one person has even been exiled, and it was it was a mutual agreement there, from what I can tell, for the most part. And even then, it was basically because the safety of the Horde was threatened if she was not. And but my main grievance is with the current Oaken Lord, Oberon. He was willing to rip the very planes themselves, bringing hundreds, if not thousands, if not more, into this petty squabble, destroying the very worlds we live on because he wanted to spite his wife. He brought in my world was ravaged by things coming in that shouldn't be there. Demons, devils, hostile fae, and elementals and all sorts. That's what I got. I'm not a talker.
All good. Roll me a persuasion check, please.
22.
Tess.
Steps a little bit further into the center with Andy, and says, "I know, being Fae, you don't necessarily care about the distinctions of good and evil. I know that's not how things work here. Titania rules from a position of love and compassion for her underlings, and that's the value of any leader can be measured by whether they choose to rule with love or fear. Oberon ripped the worlds apart trying to instill a situation where he was the sole ruler of this place and ruling by fear. Titania has always shown love and compassion to not only her underlings, but the innocents and even her enemies. We've never been asked to do anything underhanded. We have always been given our own personal choice of following our own belief systems. And if that doesn't tell you that these two are vastly different in their approach, then nothing else will. To the end, my lady." And she'll nod
Roll
her
a
head.
persuasion check.
15.
Ms.
So Ms. would just say, when I first arrived at the Horde, the relationship between the lady and I was mutually beneficial. I needed money and power. She needed things hunted. But as time passed, I was one of those who doubted her integrity and even foolishly tried to read her mind once. That was a bad choice. But when the Horde itself approached her about her identity and about her intentions with these creatures that we hunted, she revealed who she was. She stopped hunting creatures and started gaining allies. And if that doesn't show compassion and integrity, I don't know what does. As far as those of you who are more concerned about strength, obviously we are a huge number of people. And despite every single thing that the king has thrown at us, we have defeated, thrived, and he hasn't been able to stop us. She is able to see beyond any one person's form and identify strengths. And so if you don't necessarily trust me, at least see that with all of us there, you can trust her judgment as well as trust her power.
Make a persuasion check.
Whatever 14 plus 18 is.
20.
32?
32.
There you go.
Cool. The Claudes.
The Claudes look at the grandma and then at the rest of the offspring and say, it doesn't matter what Titania thinks of us or what we think of her. We're Fae. She's Fae. We play games of power. She lost the last one against Oberon, and he's lost this one. And she looks at Oberon. She's like, "You've lost." My family doesn't really care about the seasons. I don't really care about the seasons. But winter blankets autumn, and then thaws for spring. Spring gives life to winter, and then makes way for summer. Summer brightens and then scorches autumn. And what autumn does is it sneaks up and then it fades away. Time to fade away. And then she steps back.
Make a persuasion check.
That is a natural 20 for hang on. That is a natural 20 for 30. And she looks Oberon directly in the eyes the entire time.
Nice. Harper.
Harper steps forward and says, "When I arrived here, it wasn't by choice. My goddess put me at the feet of the Summer Queen because that's where I would be safe. She could see that even in her diminished power, this was a place of safety, and I have been here to see that grow and my own power grow in tandem. And I have been told by the Summer Queen that I was a threat and that she would end me. But I am still here. I am still standing before you at the height of my own power. She has seen us grow. She has given us chances. And I think that says a lot more about her than anyone she works with, and I'm fairly certain that we wouldn't see that from him," pointing to Oberon. And I rolled my persuasion check, and that is a natural 20 for 21.
Very good. Alex.
I pressed the wrong button. Alex you'll be sitting at the feet of his patron and go, "It doesn't matter what I think, really what all of us think. She is Archfey. She belongs in the Feywilds. And if he's done this to her, one of the courts, he'll do it to somebody else. Who will it be next time? I don't know. It might be," and he looks at his patron, "and who knows what's going to happen. It doesn't matter whether you like Titania or not. Just, it can't be you next time. And if it's been done once, who knows whether they'll try doing it again." And 24 on a persuasion roll.
Very good. Eclipsis.
Okay. Eclipsis, who's probably still covered in a lot of blood, will
Yep.
look to where Mab is. I have no idea where that is because I didn't see her, but
She is there.
yeah. Before looking back to the lady. And she will say, good, evil, doesn't matter. The world is shades of gray. I think Fae understand that more than anyone. And while I may have started out with a lady like many of us, with just wanting power and money, honestly, I was there for the thrill of the kill. But somehow, this woman found a way to give me a purpose in life that I hadn't had in a very long time, because I too was banished from my home due to a fragile male ego. And it helped me realize that I could be part of something more, something bigger. And she has earned my loyalty more than anybody I have ever had in my life before. I was a captain of the military back home for many years. Even my home, I did not have the loyalty I have for this woman. Sure, there were some outside influences that say I need to be here to protect her, but in all honesty, there is nowhere else I would be other than right next to her, and I will fight until my dying breath to make sure she is back where she needs to be, back in power, keeping things as they should be. Somebody who wishes to rip power from others for himself, just for his own personal gain, not caring about the balance of the world, not caring about anybody, is just unbeneficial. Not to mention discrimination against various races. Because something that I have learned a lot in being a creature that many are not fond of. If you make people out to be the bad guy, make them out to be lesser, you eventually push people so far that they will fight you. They will rally and they will fight you until their dying breath because they don't have anything else to lose. Because you rule, like many have said, Oberon rules by fear. Fear doesn't get you anywhere. Loyalty will get you places. And I think if you ask anyone here, their loyalty to the lady is very unbreakable. I'd be curious if they weren't under threat, if any of Oberon's people would share that same loyalty. That is all.
Roll a persuasion check.
That is a dirty 20.
Cool. Ursa.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Ursa would step forwards looking a little bit shaky, and then take a deep breath, and he'd just look around and... I'm not smart. I not know big words like family. But I now understand family. I not have one before. Lady give family to me. I had nothing. Now I has everything. If I can help Lady come home, please let Lady come home. And he'll just step back.
Oh, Ursa. Make a persuasion check.
21.
Mara.
I was crying from Ursa's speech. He steps forward slightly and looks around at all of them, all of the Fae. When I joined the Horde, I wanted some adventure. This has become a family. And she looks happily over at Ursa. But the lady, Titania, she has kept us safe. She's given all of us somewhere safe to be. That strength. In all of this, all of the fights, all of the missions that we've gone on, what we've seen of Oberon, this ridiculous, wilted use of an oak, is not strength. He has ripped and torn and tried to hide away anyone that would show that he's not strong. Oaks are supposed to be strong. If all he can do is destroy, that's not strength. That's not autumn. If anything dies in autumn, it's autumn itself, not everything else around it. It's part of the refreshing. That's what needs to happen. And then she'll step back.
Make a persuasion check.
That's 24.
Was it him?
While everybody was doing their speeches, Wazitum was eating his charming cherry sour that he was keeping
Okay.
for such a long time.
Yep.
And then he would say, there's not a lot I can say about Oberon, to be honest. Most of what I have witnessed from him is a letter that he sent to the lady, and all I could gather from that is that he's a dick. But what I can say about the lady is that I have come around to understanding a little bit more where she's coming from. At first, I was one of the ones who was doubting her the most until very recently, but it was mostly due to my misunderstanding of the Fae. But I have worked on it, tried to learn, tried to be with more Fae. Hi, Indigo. Hi, Zibilna. And with that, I think I got a better understanding, and now I have a very fond respect for her. And I think that you can say a lot by just everyone's entourage, where everybody here is very much about peace and understanding and everything. What we have witnessed today is on Oberon's side, mostly aggression, smugness, and violence. So yeah, I trust the lady with my life.
Make a persuasion check.
So the charming Sorcerer gave me advantage. I had to use a luck point, and with the previous buffs, I had to charisma. That's a natural 20 for 31.
Nice. Very good. Artbeck.
I'm going to start with Artor, if that's cool.
Yep,
Mike's
yep,
letting me
that's
drive
fine.
him. So Artor is going to stand and say, under my employ of the lady, she has helped me reunite the frost giants of Icewind Dale, and we stand united with summer. And then he's going to sit back down.
All right. Do you want to roll a persuasion check for him, please?
It's a 16.
Cool. All right.
Artbeck stands. He locks eyes with Hearn for a moment. Then he looks away. I was at the end of my rope. I had no hope. I was lost. I was chasing shadows when I found the employer, the lady. She took me in. She gave me hope. She gave a nobody the hope to turn into somebody. She helped me find me long-lost love. I couldn't have done anything without it, and I didn't think I'd be here today if I'd never found the lady. I don't care much for what goes on in the Feywild. I'd never even heard of it before. But now, what is right and just is the lady being returned to the Feywild and resuming her throne. He looks at Hearn again, and he will walk over to Hearn and pass turns horn back to him if he takes it.
He does not.
In that case, he blows the horn. He says, I'm calling in my favourite pal. I trust you to have fought with the lady. And then he will return to Artor's side.
At that point, he will take the horn because you have blown it.
Okay, he would have placed it at his feet, respectfully.
Make a persuasion check, please.
It's a 22.
Okay. Lanthropoa.
Sorry, was I muting? First of all, Lon's going to put down the giant heart with him. Then he's going to look to the claws which are right next to him. Does he recognize Baba Yaga and her?
I would say he probably can figure out who they are, yes, especially given
Right, he'll
the
look at-
conversations that have happened, yes.
Right. He'll look at them both, nod respectfully, and then turn to face Oberon. I am not here by choice, and not by contract. I do not care about good and evil. I do not care whether we live or we die. My concern is duty. Autumn is a season of change. The current Oberon's plan is separation, stagnation. He denies Her Majesty her role as summer. He denies his own role as autumn, the season of change. He does not hunger, he nibbles, and he stares at, he squints down at Oberon. He is not fit for his throne. And he stops. He stands back up and takes a step back. He is done.
Persuasion check, please.
That is a 23.
Cool. Rihanna.
Rihanna releases Garen's hand and pulls down her mask and pulls down her hood. And she kind of draws herself up as much as her short little person can. And she looks around at the Fae and she says, "My people do not care for the gods. You are the closest thing in this realm. We do not care for kings. We do not care for queens. We are our own people. We see to our own business. And our business is putting things back where they belong or destroying them when they will not go. Oberon told you, his people, that Titania abandoned her world, her duties, and her people. He lied to you. He betrayed her, and by extension, you. It has been stated if he did it to her, what stops him from doing it to you? He damaged countless planes, including the one that threatens my home, making the problems in my home worse. Problems that we had dealt with for centuries, for generations, suddenly become almost overwhelming. It's also been stated that a stone in a pond makes a ripple. The non-Fae you see here, and some of the Fae you see here, are the results of those ripples. I have seen these people that I have come to call family and friend and comrade cursed when they did not ask for it. Cursed with revenge. Something that eats at you day after day after day and never goes away. I have seen them sacrifice the things that make them who they are, their past and their future, and she'll actually look to the three that Garen and Hayden would have told her about.
Yep.
It is not, regardless of what they think of Titania, someone would have had to make these sacrifices. The question, it does not matter what I think of Titania. The question put before us is, should Oberon be replaced? And I don't get a vote, but if I did, it would be yes. And then she slips her hand back in Garen's and she's holding both of their hands very, very tightly.
Persuasion check, please.
Pre-rolled it, and that is a 13.
Okay. Eden, do you want to go at the end?
Yes.
Okay. Rumi.
Rumi steps forward slightly. I have made it no secret that I'm here for myself. The lady's cause is not my own, and it is second to my own. Grimjaw dropped me at the lady's feet so that I could find my own redemption. It was not until recently, when the lady asked a favor of me, that I saw such horror from my own eyes of Oberon's doing. Have any of you checked your court graves lately? Because us adventurers returned the bones of previous champion Gladwin to the lady. Gladwin was risen and cursed and hurt to cause hurt and damage, and told us that she was not the only one. Oberon has desecrated the graves of your esteemed, of those who should be laid to rest, just for his own games. And it was the lady, with tears in her eyes, that laid Gladwin back to rest. I'm not going to sit here and ask you which ruler is better. Everyone has a dark side, and everyone is capable of redemption. The question is, if given the chance, which one of the two would take it? And she steps back.
Persuasion check, please.
That is a 22.
Greth.
Yes. Greth will step forward. Many of the people here who have spoken are committed to the lady and this cause, and I am as well, but I have probably less stake than many here. I came to find safe haven for my sister, and soon after this I will leave to a place that will have no concern about what happens here. However, I, like many here, have witnessed Oberon's laxness, his recklessness, his short-sightedness, qualities I think make a bad ruler. Where at Titania, I've seen steadfast, always looking into the future in the long game, planning accordingly. When she realized initially she just merely wanted to return. She thought this was just another game her and Oberon would play, and that she had no intention of removing him at the time, to return and make him see her point. And then she saw all the things he had done, all the messes he had made, all the things she realized as a proper ruler she would have to clean up. And she did not hesitate. She made that part of her plan. It did not even slow her down. She incorporated all the mess that Oberon made into her plan to return and to fix what was happening. Those are signs of a good ruler, somebody you want in charge. If for no other reason, then you don't have to do these things yourself. But it also, Oberon's recklessness also would have drawn other people from other planes here, and not in a friendly way. People who would have exploited these lands, people who would have come here making demands of everybody and enforcing their will because of what he had done. She knew that would happen, and she sought to stop it. She still seeks to stop it because it is much harder to fix things than it is to destroy them. And even when she was at a more limited capacity than she is now, she worked towards that. Always worked towards making the Feylands better. Oberon was myopic, willing to abandon even his own ideals to get his own ends, which is not unique among those who play politics, I am aware. But if he's pushed it, he's broken traditions. He might have brought others into your own politics, people who would interfere, not knowing your own customs and rules, and made more problems for everybody. He made the situation worse for his own petty views. The lady always took into account the Fae, the realms, the people. and she took account of the long game, other people who might get involved. She made allies, made sure that anything that came she would see coming, even outside this realm. Her vision, her sight is vast and always looking to the horizon for possible dangers. Oberon only looks down at his own feet and thinks how nice they look standing on this ground before him. That does not make a good leader. Whether you let him keep his position or remove him from it, I admit I may not ever know or find out, but I figured it would be best for me to speak and tell you from somebody who's as objective as possible in all this. I mean, obviously I've witnessed his crimes, the things he's done, so I can't be completely objective. But I think I think I'm probably one of the most objective views you're going to get in this situation, besides someone who's completely ignorant of it. And I say he needs to be replaced. Obviously, the autumn must come, change must come. And I think it's no better situation than that the leader of autumn change as well with the times. He obviously is not up to the task of ruling. Somebody else should be. And Greth will bow his head and step back.
Make a persuasion check.
17 on the die for a total of 17.
Cool. Chuck.
Chuck steps forward. I am Faye, though not of your court. He looks towards Hearn, and briefly at Cinderella. A foundling, lost and wandering to your imprisoned queen. Second-born now here to my Guri, from my homeland. That is my duty, though not my fate. I follow the horizon, and my wandering found me there. But this horizon I found had no sun in your Fey war. My opinion is a mortal's, perhaps not yours. But as it should be, now summer is free. For the imbalance of worlds is clear to me. Autumn should follow summer. This is plain. And he puts his palm to fist and salutes at Titania and steps back.
Make a persuasion roll, please.
A pre-rolled advantage, 29.
Hela.
All right, so Hela just gives Eden's hand a little squeeze of support and then looks up and speaks openly. My stance on this is simple. He has tried to seal the lady away from her home. He failed. He has even tried to stop us with his armies. He failed. He has even tried to kill an infant in order to avoid some prophecy of doom. He failed. He may be powerful, but he is not strong. He may be cunning, but he is not wise. Yet, if you want such a failure amongst you, it is no scales off my tail.
How very Hela. Roll a persuasion check.
So that is with my... Okay, so that's a 25.
Okay. Murmur.
Murmur looks about, takes a breath, and then, you've all heard my friends, my family, my Jarl talk. Yes. You have heard of our ordeals, the troubles that autumn has caused. But still, we are here, going through your squabbles no worse than mortal children pushing each other out of a sandbox. But beside that, we are here, and we are here for her. I understand some of you a little better than others, I think. Autumn, the mighty oak. Now that's a funny name if you think about it, with how rotten to the core he has become. She looks towards the dryads. I am sure if you had any other plant life, no matter how grand, if it could not be healed, would you not cut it down and lay seeds for new growth? For all of you, this is our chance to do just that. And I roll my persuasion as a 33.
T3, Jesus. Nice. Garen the Blessed. Garen, are you there? We'll come back to him. Aaron.
Okay. Sorry.
It's all good.
I came to the Horde out of boredom, out of a desire for something to do whilst I'd stepped aside from my duties as a captain. I expected danger, and I expected glory and gold. What I did not expect was to find friends, and someone fighting for a very cause that I have sacrificed everything for. Freedom. No one should have to live in a cage, especially not one made by the one who is supposed to love and cherish them. The Summer Queen fights for the only cause worth fighting for, and the Oak stands against it. And anyone who stands against freedom is not someone who deserves power. It's as simple as that. I will not stand idly by while someone innocent is chained, and nor will my God. And I hope that none of you will either. It's the only right thing to do.
Make a persuasion check.
23.
Barrett. Jaroswin. How about Garen the Blessed? Has he arrived?
He has. Cleric initiative.
Go
Always
for
at
it.
the back. Yeah. I challenge you, Archfey, to look around you, and look around you carefully. You may see mortals, Fey, Eladrin, giants, all manner of humanoid supporting Titania. But look again, look carefully. Let me give you some insight. Ula, Grimjaw, Thrym, the Raven Queen, Nistra, the Wave Mother, the Celestial Bison Kirijoloth, and, I must admit, even the Traveller. There is balance that needs to be maintained. Archfey are powerful and wise, and the 4 seasons are represented. They must be represented, and one looked to usurp, to control, and to violate the divine right of monarchs. Summer has a divine right to have a ruler, and no one, not even another season, has the power or the will to deny the gods. There are 4. There must be 4. That is balance. That is the way. 13.
Barrett, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So Sherritt will step forward, he'll bow to Titania, then he'll bow to everybody else. And he will stand up straight and say, I am here to speak of the lady. I do not know the lady well. In a lot of ways, she is just my employer. But I have worked many jobs for her, and though I cannot speak of her intent or her goals, I can speak of her methods. Because from the jobs she has given me and what I have done for her, I can see how she treats the world and how she moves forward. She does this by raising the underdog, taking the small community, protecting it, raising it up, and helping it work and grow. Summer is the season of growth. She casts her light into the dark corners and allows things that would otherwise moulder in the dark to grow and take form and give an identity. Oberon would tell you that these mortals are lesser than you. They are not as powerful and not deserving of things. But there are more of them. They are greater in number. And that makes you the underdog and it makes you the minority. And you've got to remember that if you isolate and you are nothing but yourselves, it will get very boring very quickly. You are a set of beings who enjoy fun and enjoy new things. There is nothing like mortals for coming up with crazy new things to enjoy, and manipulate, and play your little power games with. So I say the motivations of the lady also are beneficial to you, and they will protect you and help you grow and help you keep your identities while still accepting others. He'll bow and step back.
Make a persuasion check, please.
It is a 28, and he can re-roll a fail.
This isn't really a fail save kind of
I
situation.
realize that.
Okay. Last call before Eden. Anyone who has not spoken who wishes to, put your name in the Roll20 chat so I can see. Eden, looks like you up.
Okay, out of character question first. Has Titania received the hair from Aridin yet?
Nope, she hasn't asked for it yet.
Okay. All right. So, Aridin will stand there holding Hella's hand, staring at Oberon for a few moments before she speaks. And then she'll take a breath and look around. I knew very little of the Feywild before I joined the Horde. I was fascinated by the Feywild. I wanted nothing more than to get to the Feywild to find my parents. The lady and I have had a bumpy relationship at times due to things coming to light. But the question that you are asking us at this moment, right here and right now, is about whether Autumn, and she kind of stumbles over that, should remain Autumn. Autumn is a season of change and wonder and nature. And nature is full of so many different wonderful things, from the tiniest speck of dirt to the air that blows the leaves through the worlds. You can't have one thing without another. You can't celebrate the differences in nature and say only green grass is the best. Green grass is the way to go. Everything else is not important. This being of autumn has seemed to have forgotten the wonder of nature and change. Is there no hope left in you, autumn? Do you not realize all that you encompass and all that you used to be, from what I've heard, and could still be? And then she will just step back.
Make a persuasion check.
With a little bit of Tides of Chaos help from her wife, that's a 31.
Okay. So, Eden, while you were talking, Oberon is watching you very carefully. In that way that you watch someone who feels familiar, but you can't quite place why. But then Titania speaks and his attention is moved away. She looks around, everyone has spoken. For your information, Horde, I took an average of all your rolls, which means your overall persuasion roll was 24. Titania says, well, I believe it is time. Archfey, we must be in agreement. So, does anyone here object to this ritual taking place? There is a beat of silence, and then a man steps forward, dressed like a classic leprechaun. Green hat, green clothes. He goes, I. Oberon is a self-obsessed goon, it is true. But we're all self-obsessed goons some of the time. And what's to stop you lot doing this to one of us every time you don't like something we did? We disagree all the time. We do, says Titania. But he is not here for being self-obsessed. That's practically an archfey necessity. He is here for destroying the balance of the universe. We all know our place, and some of us are made for chaos and revelry, for the unsettling of things. Others are made to keep the balance. We play our parts. He does not. He acts counter to his role. The leprechaun, who was obviously mostly worried about himself, goes, very well, I recant my objection. I agree. Burn the oak. There are several mutters around the circle. A being like a horse, but it is shaped like fire, steps forward and says, this is all very well, but exactly who do you intend to replace him with? Titania smiles and gestures for JeanLuc to step forward. JeanLuc has... thank you. Sorry. It's much harder when I can't see your faces. JeanLuc has introduced himself to you. JeanLuc Ambulant, current ruler of Aveline, and as far as I can tell, any autumn Eladrin worth their salt. He has shown himself to me to be compassionate and thoughtful, and also tricky and prone to pranks and fabulous outfits, and kind of heart and very changeable. This is everything that I loved about autumn, and everything that is good about autumn. He arrived at my feet not even knowing who he was, really. I believe he was fated for this. In many ways. JeanLuc, will you allow the Archfey to interview you?
Oui, madame. Archfey, I welcome your questions. I welcome your criticisms. Or anything else you may have for me at this time.
There's some chitter-chatter and some muttering, and then they come down into the circle. And they come up to you. And they knock on your forehead, and they peer into your eyes, and they pull at your hair. They whisper strange words in your ears that you don't understand. A couple of them lick your skin. It's weird. Archfey are weird.
Here for it.
It's like a horse show, except weirder and with a lot more magic. Do you react in any way to all of this nonsense?
JeanLuc's all for it. They are welcoming of it. Okay. They're also used to Artagan being in their brain, so...
Yeah, fair enough. Eventually, one by one, they all return to their spots. Artagan, I assume, just sat on the thing. He knows who you are.
Oh, he's loving this.
Yes, I bet. They return to their spots around the circle. And Titania looks around at them all. Kind of catches Artagan's eye for just a second. And then she says, "So, do we agree? All in favor? Aye." And there is a circle of aye, with one or two, I abstain, I. And at this point, Oberon, for the first time in this entire situation, realizes that he may actually lose this. And he kind of looks around and he goes, "This is ludicrous. You can't really all be agreeing to this insane plan." Titania gives him a very withering look. And then she goes to Hearn. And she says, "Hearn, Spring, Hunter, Green Man of the Wood. To do this thing, I require the call of spring, given freely." And he chuckles. And he picks up the horn that's at his feet. And he looks at it and he says, "Interesting that this was so recently returned to me." And she hands it to him. He hands it to her. Sorry, it's been a long day. She moves on to Mab. And she says, "Mab, sister, queen of darkness and ice and winter. To do this, I need tears of the winter freely given." Mab smiles a sad smile and weeps 3 tears that freeze immediately on her cheeks. She breaks them off and drops them in Titania's palm, where they immediately melt. She smiles and she says, "I look forward to hating you again, you sunny bitch." Titania responds, "And I you cold-hearted wastrel." Titania goes up to Oberon. She puts the horn to her lips and she blows. She says, "You have heard the call of spring. Feel the tears of winter." And she places her hands where the tears fell on her palms, on his cheeks, and lets the water from that run down his cheeks. And then, without removing her hands, she says, "Here is the heat of summer." And where her hands are placed on his skin, it begins to burn bright red. Then she steps back and she says, "Now, all we need are the leaves of autumn." And at this point, he laughs, victorious. "Oh, how marvelous! You need me to freely give you something to contribute to my own demise. I decline, dear wife. Sorry, folks. Show's over. Everyone can go home." Titania smiles a very fey, feral smile and says, without removing her eyes from his face, Eden Munal, may I have a lock of your hair, please?
Yes, my lady. And she will release her hand from Hella's and walk over and cut off a lock of her hair and hand it to you, looking at Oberon the entire time.
As Eden approaches, Titania says, may I present to you today, on the eve of your transition, your daughter, begotten upon Anchorin and hidden from your eyes. She arrived in my realm like this day was fated, long before she knew who she was, long before I ever knew this ritual even existed. And she drops the cut hair from Eden onto his head, and it intertwines with his hair, and it begins to glow. And she turns to JeanLuc and she says, JeanLuc, are you ready?
Oui, madame.
Do you have anything to say before you become something else?
To my horde, my family, I thank you all for your trust. I thank you all for being there for me in becoming who I am. Artagan, I look to end our bond as cleric and deity and form a new one as archfey and friends. In my transition, it is within my power to name a leader of Aveline, to which I name Lady Morwen Starshine, the Queen of Aveline. And now, my lady, I am, for the first time, ready to become a husband.
Titania smiles, and she speaks a phrase in a tongue so ancient only 4.5 beings know it. Oberon begins to glow. His skin, his hair, his clothes glow orange, brown, and yellow. The light becomes brighter and brighter. There is a smell on the wind, like fire and pumpkin seeds roasting, and the soft mulch of fallen leaves. And then a huge pillar of energy surrounds both him and JeanLuc. It is blinding. None of you can see through it. All you can see is light. It burns for a solid 10 minutes. And then the light is sucked into the being who was JeanLuc, who is now Oberon, who is more than he was, but still himself. Where the old Oberon stood is a human man, collapsed on the ground, weeping uncontrollably. He says, "What have you done to me? I will not be mortal. Kill me now, someone." And before anyone can move, Titania's voice rings commanding, "Hold!" She walks over to JeanLuc. She takes his hands and kisses his forehead and says, "Husband, finally, I can be proud to be your wife. I look forward to a long and prosperous alliance."
And I the same, madame. And he will bring her hands up and kiss them.
At this point, the Archfey begin to vanish. The show over, they go back to their realms and their roles and their lives. Titania turns to the man, lying in the flowers. Except apparently for Artagan, who is eating popcorn on the wall. Which figures. And she says, "Now, this being who was Oberon and is now a mortal man, he begs for death, but I cannot quite bring myself to provide it. My horde, you have fought for me worked for this, striven for this moment. So you will decide whether he lives or dies. If you choose life for him, perhaps redemption, perhaps understanding, move to my right. If you choose a quick and merciful death, move to my left. I'm going to draw a line to make this very clear, and you're going to move your tokens. I'm going to draw it in a color that's not the same as the flowers. Ah. Oh, it's not a very straight line, but you get the idea. Nothing about this campaign has been straight. Why start now?
Hey.
Titania will put herself oh shit. There we go.
I'm
Titania,
not seeing the line.
is it there now? I fucked it up.
Yes.
I think. But yeah. Titania will put herself exactly on the line. So, to reiterate, because I know this is a stressful moment for some people, right means he lives. Left means he dies. Please move your tokens appropriately. He doesn't count. He's just like chilling there being sad.
Is now a good time to say that if he lives, some of us are going to be plagued with a god-given vengeance for eternity?
This seems like a marquee problem right now. Titania doesn't really care. She is dealing with bigger issues than your vengeance. So, I'm assuming people on the line are abstaining. Because there's a lot of you. Or thinking.
For those dealing with children, which is the options again? Left and right. Left is live, right is die. Is that right?
Left is live, right is die.
Thanks.
It's the other
right is
way.
die.
Right is live. Live is right.
Yeah, I thought right
is
was
live.
live.
Oh yes, sorry. Right is yes, you're right. It's
Right is
been
live.
along there. Yes.
This is, yeah, cool.
What she said was, if you choose life for him, perhaps redemption, perhaps understanding, please move to my right. If you choose a quick and merciful death, please move to my left.
If you want him dead, stand near Marky.
I mean,
yes.
Airden would have knelt down when he collapsed, like after the thing.
Okay.
How much? Like, does he remember everything? Like, it's him.
I mean, you can ask him. You don't know right now. He's clearly a mess. Like, he's clearly an emotional mess right now. He's pretty much begging someone to kill him.
She'll put her hand on his shoulder and look at him. And I'm trying to remember the questions I sent you. Oh my gosh.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I know. So she will, with her big glassy eyes, because she didn't think this was going to happen. Why kill my mother? Why try to have me kill? Why not give me the chance to get to know you? Because being an I would never want to do what you do or be an archfey. I would never try to take any of this away from you. I was never a threat. Why? Why not give me that option, that chance to get to know you? And for you to see how different your life could have probably been.
He looks straight at you for a moment, and there are like tears running down his cheeks. His eyes are cold. And he says to you, look what happened here today. That prophecy was 100% right. You have killed me, daughter, and he pushes you away.
She falls on her butt because she was kneeling.
It's gonna help her up.
Okay, thank you. This happened because of you. You put these wheels into motion.
He just turns away, like he's not even looking at you anymore. He's
Did
deep
we
in his
all-
feelings right now.
Okay.
Did we all see him do that?
If you were close enough, yes, you would have.
JeanLuc immediately changed sides.
Looks like. Oh, so did Fianna.
Because this is totally Eclipse's way, she would point out that I feel like a quick death is not nearly punished enough. He should deserve to live as one of these lesser beings he hates so much. Just saying.
And Aridin will look at him and kind of agree with Eclipsis and say, and maybe he should just live in fear knowing that he's being hunted for the rest of his life, like I've been.
I like this idea.
Let him wallow in the destruction he's wrought across the plains.
The cult will speak up then and say, "You all spoke about what the lady has done for you and what you've done for the lady. Part of what we did to unseal her was we had to swear vengeance, a vengeance that burns through us and damns us, a vengeance from the gods. Marky took on vengeance against Oberon, and that is what you're damning him to by keeping him alive."
Gur
Then
speaks up.
perhaps
Oh.
Vengeance does not always mean death. Oberon is now a man. Nothing more than I am. The being that you were sworn vengeance on no longer exists. Knowing the god that you are sworn to now, a quick death is justice. A quick death is easy. If he wants pain, this is how he gets it.
How does Hor feel about that?
You don't know.
Out of curiosity.
You don't know. You need to make a judgment call.
Jared will let Marky know that he'll stand with him on either side of the line.
I wish I had my Efreeti with me right now to wish to know what's the best course of action.
Nope, you're just going to have to use your own judgment. All right, so I'm going to count. So I need you to make a decision. If you are dithering, this is the moment to stop dithering and make a decision.
Well,
5.
Let me roll some things.
4.
I'm just removing his own people. Hang on. Don't count just yet because his own people don't get a say in this. I would have assumed that they've been removed from the playing field. Thank you.
Anyone that is in line with Oberon and Titania and Gur, I have assumed are abstaining because the line isn't vertical and we can't align to a horizontal.
Yeah, sorry.
Non-vertical.
And Alex, I assume, is abstaining. So at the moment, that is Alex, Oberon, Titania, Gur, Zook, Indigo, Edith, Chuck, and Zinkayla. Right. So at the moment, on the what did I say? Left is death. Did Marky just abstain?
For a very specific reason, and he's like gonna kneel like. Oberon's on the floor, and Marky will like.
Gur stands between you and Oberon. He will push you out of the way.
It's not a.
He moves you. No question, he moves you.
Can you please stand aside for a moment while
No.
I talk with my quarry?
Decide.
Are you going to make everyone else abstaining decide?
If your decision is abstaining, that is a decision. You don't get to talk to him. and I stand between you and him.
We did have an agreement, Titania.
We did.
Are you not, are you going back on the agreement, or can we change the agreement so I can at least, like, speak to him?
You may speak to him from a distance.
I think a little bit of dramatic flair with touching him just gently on the face.
No.
Anything that touches him is removed, Marky. Say your words.
Do you have questions? Is that what is happening here?
I want to know if he will truly live in fear, and I guess I want to know if you will let me hunt him for eternity. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I'm certainly not human. I'm certainly not mortal like everyone else. If you all truly want to punish him like that, then I guess I could just maybe hunt until his very short human life comes to an end.
Zook
It's a
pipes up
blip
from
in our
behind you.
lifetime, isn't it?
Not everyone here is mortal, Marky.
Titania sighs a heavy sigh and says, Marky, dear, you are so short-lived so far. I told you that I would let you kill him, provided it did not endanger the Horde. At no point did I specify when.
That is true.
Now, the question that you must all ask yourselves is twofold. The first is, does this man deserve mercy? And the second is whether mercy is life or death in his case. I do not need to know your deliberations or the reasoning behind your decision. I simply need to know what you decide. This is a majority situation, and at the moment, it appears the majority thinks he should live for one reason or another. Now, does anyone wish to change their vote at this point? Marky? Have you made your decision?
You are right that you didn't give me a time frame. So whether I want to end his life or not is a moot point. So he can live for now until you decide he does not. As long as as long as you hold up your end of the agreement.
I always hold up my end of the agreement. Just not always the way you expect.
Well, we have all eternity.
So you choose life?
For now.
Zook is on the line, yes?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Well, that's an overwhelming vote for life. Husband. Ex. Husband. Old habits die hard, what can I say? She lifts him up by his hands until he is standing in front of her. And she says, there was a time when I loved you. There was a time when you were something better than what you became. And whether you see it now or not, this is an opportunity for redemption. You may choose redemption, or you may choose a short mortal life of hatred and fear, at the end of which there is a warforged waiting for you. This is the beginning. You have no choice in that. That, and she points at Marky, is the end, and you have no choice in that. But what happens in between? That you have a lot of choice about. And then she turns from him in a way that utterly dismisses him. It's the kind of thing that really only a Fae Queen could do. It's like one moment he matters, and the next moment he is no longer even in her brain. He's gone, as far as she's concerned. And she takes JeanLuc's hand in one of hers, and she takes Ger's hand in the other, if she can reach him.
He will step back so she can.
And she will move back so that she can see all of you. And she says, "And thus, my beloved, most gallant horde, we have obtained our goal. But the work is not over. What has happened over the past few years has left scars, tears, wounds in the very fabric of reality. And though it was not our doing, the mess remains for someone to clean up. I propose we set the power of the Horde to that task. I would send you forth, those who have not completed your contracts, to worlds across the multiverse, to find the lost things and send them home, or where that is not possible, to at least make them not dangerous to the inhabitants of the worlds on which they find themselves. We shall cease sneaking and stealing and fighting, and turn ourselves to the healing of the plains. And maybe when that work is done, we will turn our attention to bringing good to the world, shining light on oppression, freeing those enslaved. Those who wish to subjugate, enslave, and hurt will fear the coming of the Horde. What say you?"
Aye.
Is this the part where we say huzzah?
That's such a
This
Marky
is
thing
the
to
part
say.
where we say huzzah.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah, he does say that.
Asta would just be like, huh? Like,
That's close
he stopped following.
Cool. When the huzzahs die down, the three of them,
Ozeron says
The two I just didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Wait, you can interrupt.
Yeah,
if she
somebody's
asks
on
you
my
a direct question, you can interrupt. So when it dies down, she says, "I have been proud to be your leader. I have my kingdom back to lead now, and will assign new leaders on worlds across the multiverse. But my original horde, my friends, those who brought me back to my throne, I tell you this today. Whatever the future brings you, wherever you go, you will always be a friend of the Summer Court. And if we can, we will come to your aid. I am Titania, Queen of the Summer Court, and you are my horde most gallant. I will not forget what you have done for me this day. Now, I have a kingdom to reclaim. But first, as is the way with both the Horde and the Fae, we feast and we revel." And with that, she pulls all of you back to the courts, which are now wreathed in summer. There are two thrones. Oberon and Titania sit side by side once again, ruling together in perfect balance over a court of revels and feasting. There is work to be done, but it can wait. We will start tomorrow. The end.
Question mark.
Question mark.
And they lived happily ever after. There you go.
Until January.
Some of them.
When shit kicks off again.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
25 and a half hours, people.
25 and a half hours.
25 hours, 26 minutes. Holy fuck.
You guys did it. Oh my goodness.
So
For those of us on the line, just a round of applause or whatever noise you can make for Jax and Adam, who did a fucking amazing job.
Thank you.
Please go fall down on something soft right now.
Yeah, but I have to say some stuff first because I'm me, and that was her, and now this is Jax. We've all heard me say this, that I started this. I'm gonna cry. We started this thing as a series of random one shots that were very loosely connected by not even really a story. And I never in a million years dreamed that it would turn into this. And I just, without all of you, this would just be me telling stories to myself, and they wouldn't be as good because they are as good as they are because they are cooperative and communal. And I just want to thank you all for telling stories with me.
No, thank you. And go the fuck to sleep, the pair of you.
So, massive shout out to Adam, who sits behind the scenes and makes sure that I'm functioning and like just does all the stuff. He's amazing. And also to the mods who fucking keep this shit rolling when I'm like, I can't do this anymore. They're just chilling there in the background, making the shit happen and keeping everything in place. You guys are the fucking bomb, and I couldn't do this without you. And everyone who made art, that still blows my mind. And I would like to accept this Oscar on behalf of my mom. That is all.
Birthday for you.
It
Yeah,
was the
happy
best. It was the best. It's not even. It's like 9:30 in the morning on my birthday, but I will be sleeping for a big chunk of it. Thanks, guys.
Sleep on the birthday is the best kind of present.
Yeah.
International nap time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Earned it.
Okay. Unless anyone else has anything they would like to say, we're gonna shut this baby down.
So, do I get a crown or what?
I guess so. I get a crown, but it's in a lead box I can't get into. Okay, for those of you watching the stream, if there's anyone who's not in the Horde who's watching the stream, wow, you stuck with us. That's fucking amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone who's supported the stream and everything we do. We don't yet have a schedule for the break because we've been very focused on this. We've got a couple of birds of a feather games locked in, but that's it. We will be putting a schedule together over the next week or so for the shit that's going to happen between seasons and letting people know how the new season's going to run and all that jazz after we have rested. But if you're still with us, thank you for being with us. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, have a fabulous time zone. Goodbye.
Time zone, everybody.